It's a bald off. 3, 2, 1. Bald. Even though you're bald, you still have ears.
Give him some dome.
Looks like a mouse run over by a car.
You give me nothing to work with.
You'd think a Superman movie would be something everyone could agree on, right? A symbol of hope. A hero for all. But here we are again. The internet's on fire. People are fighting like this film personally wronged them. And Superman's name is once again caught in a war that has less to do with him and more to do with everything around him. Now look, I've seen my fair share of Superman over the years. From the animated classics to Smallville to Man of Steel and beyond. And at this point, I can say this. The new Superman movie isn't anything mind-blowing, but it's decent. The kind of film that kids growing up today will probably remember as their Superman. It's bright, full of spectacle, and leans into that classic comic book feel. That's not a bad thing, but what I did find a little off was how hard the movie leans into the whole immigrant theme.
Superman is an immigrant, and if you don't like that, then you're not American.
MAGA today was getting a little upset that he called Superman an immigrant. I wanted to get your reaction.
Somebody needs a hug. It's just a movie, guys.
Who else is seeing this?
Well, with the satellite link up, just about everybody.
You said it's an immigrant story. It's a political movie. MAGA today is going nuts. What do you have to say to MAGA?
I think this movie's for everybody. I don't have anything to say to anybody. Like, I'm not here to judge people, you know.
You may continue.
You know, I think this is a movie about kindness, and I think that's something everyone can relate to.
Good for you, sir. That's the spirit. See, he doesn't really want to hurt anybody.
Superman being an alien from another planet has always been part of the character. Sure, but here, it felt like Hollywood decided to use that angle to wave a flag and make a political statement. And in my opinion, that's where it crosses into a bit of that modern woke energy poking through. Not enough to ruin the movie, but enough to make me raise an eyebrow. Still, that doesn't make it a failure. It's a film made for a new generation. And while some fans are arguing over who's the better Superman, Henry Cavill or David Corenswet, I think both actors brought something solid to the role. They represent completely different takes on the character, and that's fine. Not everything has to be a battle. The real problem here isn't even the movie itself. It's what the movie became. A target. A talking point. A lightning rod for fandom drama. Internet wars and critic pile-ons. And somehow, that controversy ended up being more entertaining than the movie. When the new Superman movie was announced with James Gunn at the helm, the reaction wasn't excitement. It was warfare. The second that first trailer dropped, the so-called Snyder cult, yeah, they've basically become a meme at this point, made it clear this wasn't their Superman. To them, Gunn's version wasn't just a reboot. It was betrayal. Now, to be fair, Zack Snyder's fans have always been passionate. But when I say passionate, I mean obsessive, to the point where you start to wonder if they've printed prayer candles with his face on them. They've convinced themselves that the only way Superman can work is if Snyder's involved. Even though DC completely flocked under his vision, these fans still believe that if this movie fails, Warner Brothers will somehow beg Snyder to come back. Like we haven't seen what that already looks like. This has led to a bizarre online crusade where anyone who says something good about the new Superman film is instantly labelled a paid shill. Not even critics. We're talking about regular people who walked out of a screening, said, "Hey, that was fun," and now they're being told they're on James Gunn's payroll. That's how deep this delusion runs. You even have fans claiming there's a global conspiracy to silence negative reviews. Reddit threads, tweets, YouTube comments, all echoing the same chant. They're lying to you. They've been bought. It's like watching a superhero movie turn into a full-blown conspiracy thriller. And then it flicks. Because at the same time, if you don't like the movie, people start accusing you of being a toxic Snyder fan, even if you couldn't care less about Snyder. So basically, no matter what you say, you're on somebody's enemy list. The sad part, most of these people haven't even seen the film. They've already decided it's terrible or brilliant, based purely on the name in the credits. Gunn or Snyder, pick a side. It's not even about Superman anymore. It's about tribalism. Fandom as a team sport, and you're either with them or against them. I don't know when it became normal for liking or disliking a movie to turn into a loyalty test, but that's where we are. And instead of talking about Superman himself, his story, his message, his evolution, we're watching grown adults throw tantrums online over directors and studio politics, like it's some sort of holy war. And let's be real, Snyder's Superman and Gunn's Superman are aiming for two completely different things. One is grounded, brooding, a symbol of struggle. The other is brighter, campier, trying to capture that old school comic book feel. They're not competing, they're doing different things. You can like one, the other, or both. Or neither. That used to be okay. But now, the second you say anything, you're instantly labelled, boxed, and dragged into a fandom war you didn't sign up for. And that's the real shame here. The movie isn't even allowed to exist on its own terms. It's being judged by battles that have nothing to do with what's actually on the screen. Here's the thing that really threw me off about this Superman film. No one can seem to agree on whether it's actually good. Like, not even in the usual, I liked it, you didn't kind of way. This is full-on whiplash. One review calls it heartfelt and refreshing. Another says it's soulless and headache-inducing. You scroll through the reactions, and it's like flipping between two completely different movies. Some critics are calling it the best Superman film ever made. Others are calling it superhero soup. Even IGN gave it an 8. Then turned around and basically said Willow was better. And that's not a joke, that's real. At this point, it's almost like the movie became a mirror. It reflects whatever expectations you brought in. If you wanted something classic, you might like it. If you wanted something serious, you probably left disappointed. If you just showed up hoping for something fun and colourful, you might have had a decent time. At the end of the day, maybe the most accurate review is this. It depends. At some point, we've got to ask, are people really mad about this Superman movie? Or are they just burned out on Superman in general? Think about it. We've had so many different versions of this character in the last 20 years alone. Movies, TV shows, animated series, reboots, soft reboots, multiverse cameos. Superman's been everywhere. And every time, it's sold to us as the one that's going to fix everything. The one that finally gets it right. But after a while, all those promises start to blur together. You don't walk into the theatre excited. You walk in tired. And maybe that's why the reactions feel so scattered. It's not because this movie is awful or amazing. It's because people are worn out from watching the same tape go through the same cycle again and again. And I get it. Superman's an iconic character. He means a lot to a lot of people. But there comes a point where it's less about the character and more about how often he's been dragged back onto the big screen with a different actor and a new, fresh take. From Christopher Reeve to Brandon Routh to Henry Cavill and now David Corenswet. It's not a reboot anymore, it's a rerun. And this constant reset isn't helping either. Every new Superman movie has to re-establish the rules, set up the tone, build the world from scratch, and win the audience over again. That's a tall order, especially when we've already seen so many origin stories, so many love interests, so many Lex Luthors. It's like watching someone try to reboot a car commercial. Yeah, it's shinier now, but you already know how it ends. Even if this movie does a few things right, it still can't escape the fatigue. People walk in with decades of expectations, comparisons, and emotional baggage. And when it doesn't completely blow them away, it feels like disappointment. Even if, by normal standards, it's a perfectly decent film. So now that everything's been said, let's be real, this Superman movie became a lightning rod for way more than capes and villains. There's been a lot of talk about the whole Superman is an immigrant angle, and how the film tries to slide in some ideology under the radar. Honestly, I don't think anyone needed that to enjoy a Superman movie. You can tell a meaningful story without turning it into a statement piece. And when Hollywood starts forcing themes that don't fully connect with the story, it feels more like a checkbox than real storytelling. That's only one part of the confusion, because even when you take out the politics, the movie itself doesn't seem sure what it wants to be. Is it a heartfelt comic book adventure? A quirky comedy? A setup for a bigger universe? Or is it all of that at once? It's trying to juggle too much, and that makes it harder to connect with. And maybe that's where all the disappointment comes from. Not because it's the worst Superman movie ever made. It's not. But because, once again, the hype promised something big, something different, something defining. And what we got feels more like a warm-up act than a main event. In the end, this movie will probably be remembered more for the chaos around it than what's actually in it. The fans fighting, the critics arguing, the endless tribalism, all circling a film that, at its core, is just trying to be another chapter in Superman's long history. Whether it works for you or not, probably says more about what you wanted going in than what the movie actually delivers.